Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Two Chicks, Three Seats. So we took a brief hiatus on recording for the past couple of weeks to prepare for our upcoming lineup of guests, but now we are back today with two incredible marketing professionals to talk about all things marketing in the hospitality industry, which is one of our favorite subjects. We are joined by Jessika Phillips, the founder of Now Marketing Group, and Christine Gritmon, the founder of Christine Gritmon Inc. We are so excited to pick their brains this episode and provide our listeners with valuable marketing insights from real professionals. So without further ado, let's get started. Can you guys give us a quick background and how many years have been in the industry, all that good stuff? Jessika, if you want to start.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So background. It wasn't always in marketing. I started out in telecommunications, but worked way up the corporate ladder, so to speak, and realized how much I really didn't want to be in corporate after working my way up there. But ended up working with mom and pop businesses, helping them market their organization, started a family, ended up getting sick, and then started an agency to be able to work around my family, as well as, be able to do what I love, which was working with businesses to help them market using the relationships that they already had with their team members, with their customers, and help them grow word of mouth and kind of world of mouth, so to speak, and social media, using social media at the time. So I've been doing that, started Now Marketing Group in 2010. So little over 11 years now, and love it. We do social media, relationship marketing, web design, video production, ads, the whole gamut of online marketing goodness for clients.
It's our favorite subject, like I said. Christine, you want to give us a quick intro?
Sure. So this is career number 4 for me. I started in the corporate beauty industry. And again, corporate was just like, rah. So after I had my first child, I became a creative freelancer. I did some graphic design, some writing. After my second child, I re-entered the full-time workforce in a newsroom. And that was actually the first place that I encountered social media and personal branding in active use. Because back when I was in corporate the first time around, social media wasn't really a thing yet. And personal branding wasn't something that we were doing for this massive corporation. So I discovered I had a knack for it. I got promoted in the newsroom for it to help others in the newsroom with their personal branding and with using social media. And after a while, I said, you know what, why don't I just do this, but for local mom and pop businesses originally starting with restaurants, actually, because I had a lot of restaurant connections since I'd been a food writer for part of my time as a writer. So 5 years ago, I started Christine Gritmon Inc. It has changed a lot. I went from doing social media for small local businesses to teaching small businesses anywhere, anyone, how to do their own social media better. And now I'm shifting more towards helping professionals of all kinds embrace their personal brand and put it forward on social media in a bigger, better way. Embrace brands in general. I also still work with other types of businesses, but getting it out there, why you're special, why other people should care, and making sure that the people who need you can find you.
Do you do personal branding?
Yes,
I need that in my life. Why am I special? Why should people care?
I guarantee you are. Give me 15 minutes, you'll discover you're a rock star.
I love it.
Personal hype woman.
Oh yeah.
Seriously.
And I love the restaurant background, like that, how that was the first industry you're working in. That's so interesting.
I mean, as we'll be discussing today, there's so much capacity there to drive people using social media for restaurants. And a lot of it is just untapped because people don't know what to do or they're intimidated.
Right, yeah, right.
For sure. We see it all the time.
Well, so to kick it off, obviously 2020 and into 2021 has been a crazy ride, and we've changed the way we've done so many things, including marketing. So I think our first question to you guys is, how has marketing changed with the pandemic, and how are brands and businesses connecting with consumers in ways now that they hadn't been before?
I mean, I think it's not necessarily changed per se. I would say it's opened a lot of people's eyes to what's always been, and now like what they have to do, get their shit together. If I can say that on here, because, if your business, your restaurant can't take people in,
Mm-hmm.
how are you still going to connect with them? How are they going to know if you're now operating on DoorDash or whatever? Or have you even thought about that kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
For me and the agency and the clients I worked with, which was amazing that they finally now were like, oh, now I kind of get why we need this even more so. So I think it helped build our rapport even stronger, as well as we doubled our agency in 2020, which was also pretty cool. But it was really getting back to the heart of what I love doing in my personal mission, which is relationship marketing. And I say I help people love more, give more, and be more, which truly just means that we help brands grow that sustainable long-term growth through the art of authentic relating. And that's what I think really 2020 shed the light on, that people, if they're going to stay with you, they have to really have a reason to keep coming back and choosing you. If your doors are closed for weeks or months, why are they going to come back if now they're used to someone else? Or how are they going to continue supporting you? Speaking of restaurants, some of the clients that we work with, we're like, okay, now you have to think about pivoting, but do you have, your customer, are you still in conversation in some way with your customers, whether that's social media, an email, newsletter, whatever that is, your website, have you built that rapport to where now you can tell them, okay, now we're just doing things a little bit different. And that's what they had to look at. So we started doing, curbside pickup with some of the restaurants and, being funny with it and giving them toilet paper when they were leaving too, in 2020 and really just being open and honest. And it wasn't just the pandemic things. It was, other things that really happened and amplified in 2020 as it relates to politics and just hard topics, where I think the biggest thing is just being real, authentically relating with your customers and getting unfiltered a little bit, where it's not just being vanilla. You have to have this personality, you have to truly be wanting to listen in on conversations with your customers, listen to them, what they need. You're on the, and pay attention to not just your customers, but even your team members, because all the things that people are going through, we have to realize that we're all just humans at the end of the day. And the reason why people are going to choose us is if we are real and we have built some kind of a relationship with them in order for them to want to keep choosing us.
Much like what Jessika said, it's less about things happening that are new or different. It's more that things have been brought to the forefront that before maybe some businesses thought might be extras, and now they're absolute must-haves. Being able to communicate directly with your audience, that is huge. Having that relationship there. Previously, you could be like, you know what, we get walk-ins, we're doing fine, word of mouth. You couldn't skate by on that anymore. You had to be out there actively developing those relationships. I talked to a lot of restaurants really early in the pandemic where they were like, well, what do? We just kind of roll over and die. And I said, you could sell gift certificates for people who want to make sure you're still there at the other end of all this. You can promote your takeout business, just be really loud, take advantage of those opportunities, and don't just accept defeat. And another huge part is, reminding people of the real people behind the businesses became a lot more important, because the fact is everyone is struggling. It was tough all around. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people had a lot of insecurity financially and all of that. And so in order for them to spend with you, in order for them to want to support you, in order for them to want to make sure that your business is there on the other side, you have to really connect with them on that level. Make it clear that you don't just want their money. You're a real person with dreams. This is one of those things where small businesses really have a big advantage over large businesses, because it's reminding you, I'm someone in your community who has dreams and who is a part of your life here. And if you want this to be a part of your life on the other side, here's how we can help each other out. And I think that part of the narrative was really, really important. And also just being honest, like, hey, this sucks. We wish that we could do more here. We wish that we were fully operational. We miss seeing your faces in our dining room. But in the meantime, we want to help you feed your family. We want to do this, that, and the other thing. And just making it really clear all the ways that you could support. I know that some of our favorite restaurants, we did way more takeout than we ever would have. In fact, places that we never would have done takeout from before. offered special deals and things like that. And those got shared in local Facebook groups. In fact, several local Facebook groups cropped up specifically to support our local restaurants and to spread the word about who was open for what. And it has really helped. A lot of local businesses have said they would not have made it through without it. And I know the restaurant industry in particular is still suffering right now from low staffing. A lot of people are just, not working at restaurants right now, but then also supply chain issues. I'm friends with several restaurateurs who are talking about the most random stuff they literally just cannot get. And it's really rough. And you have to communicate that in advance, because otherwise people might come in expecting, you're open again. I guess that means things are kind of back to normal. And they're often not.
Right.
So being able to communicate more directly with your audience is always something that was a good idea, always something that the best businesses were already doing. But businesses who kind of figured, okay, my product or my service is what I'm focusing on, all that stuff's just extra. Not extra anymore. It's the only way people are going to be able to give you their business right now.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been pushing at Tripleseat recently that, something good that may have come out of the pandemic for the hospitality industry is that now they have these other revenue streams that maybe they didn't have before, because like you said, there were restaurants that you went to dine in-house that you couldn't dine in-house. And so you order takeout, and maybe a lot of them continue to do takeout and catering and other things like that. So that's like one plus, I think, is that they figured out like, hey, we can do this. And people like it. And I think there's a lot of people out there who still aren't comfortable dining inside, the four walls of a restaurant. So I think there's still a need for it and a demand for it, for sure.
I was going to just hit on something both of you touched on, was also just community. Like you talked about too, Christine, on, the Facebook groups and people sharing things. And another great thing that's come out of it is the sense of community. So if one person's out of something, they're working alongside someone else, or they're working together, whether that's another business that's like-minded, right, with another, where I've seen, artists come in and play to do, kind of a virtual concert. And I've seen people do, fundraisers for things. I've seen, just people coming together to sell like whole food, sales. If the grocery store is out of meat, like one of the clients we work with was selling like, packages of meat, and it would, it's this sense of belonging versus just buying from a business. Now it's like, now it's really truly community and staffing, as you mentioned, Christine, too. That's huge for a lot of businesses, especially here where I'm from, in a small town, Lime, Ohio. Like, a lot of the places are closing earlier, cutting days off of when they're open because they don't have team members. But the ones that are getting them in and keeping them staffed are because the brands that have shown what it's like to work there. They're showing that online, and it's not just them saying it. They really are truly doing it. You have to start from the inside out and like really be the thing that you're talking about, because the team members that you do have are talking about it. They're sharing it out. The community is sharing it out for you and on your behalf. So you're able to sustain, those team members that are willing to work and stay there, and then, get some more in. But all good things, I think, that's happened from a really crappy situation from 2020.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that brings up actually one of the other questions that we had, because we do push when it comes to content for our industry, for the hospitality industry. We tend to recommend things like video footage behind the scenes, like meet the chef, meet, the hostess, all that sort of things, cocktail making demonstrations. We actually do them at Tripleseat too for our customers, venue tours. And I feel like that hits on the point that you guys brought up about being real and authentic and showing your real self. Do you have any, specific ideas for restaurants or event planners to try on social media in that aspect?
I have a couple. So I love what you said about behind the scenes, showing how something is made, showing cocktails. That has always done really well. But then also to the point of the previous answer about how the human element and community element is that much more important. I think that showing your employees that much more does a couple things. First of all, the people who are your regulars who come in and see that person all the time, they've probably gotten to know them to some degree. They probably feel some sort of connection to that person who actually provides the experience to them every time they go in. So that means you're going to get more engagement. You might even get shares from that, because that gives someone a point of connection and a point of buy-in. To that end, you also have a greater capacity to encourage user-generated content.
Yeah.
Because user-generated content, it has always been gold. User-generated content has always been one of the best things, because you can talk till you're blue in the face about how great you are, but if someone else talks about how great you are, it carries so much more weight. And the more personal you make it, the more you make it about the experience people have when they're there around the restaurant, the people who make that experience, and the people who experience that experience and have thus become part of the experience themselves. That just really increases a sense of buy-in, a sense of real affinity to that brand. It's going to make people come in more, because there's almost like a cognitive dissonance going on if you're associated with a place or product or whatever, and then you're not using it for a while. It almost feels like, well, everyone knows that this is my spot, right? So I got to go. Of course I'm going to go there. It's my Cheers. Everyone wants their Cheers. Everyone wants to be your Cheers. So I think that that's even more important than it used to be, kind of showing off your people, especially now that they've missed them for a while. If everyone's favorite bartender is back and people haven't been able to go to that bar for a solid year and a half, they're going to be stoked.
It's a combination. I liked it.
Yeah, they're going to be stoked to go back and get their favorite drink from that favorite bartender. They're going to come in, even if they might have previously been uncomfortable coming in, because they'll be like, oh, but I got to see him. All right. I'm not going to have dinner, but I'll go to the bar. I'll have a drink. I'll sit 2 seats away from everybody else. It just adds more pull to the whole thing. And you want pull. Pull is what we all want.
Right. Amen. Like, I 100% agree with you. I think the goal is always, like I said, take the followers on your page and think, how can we create real fans with them? Like, how can we create this conversation to really build that community? And the people that are, customers, how can we turn them into advocates, our team members into evangelists, and our community into collaborators? Like, what is that extra little pool that we can do? So when it comes to creating content, I'm a fan of acronyms. So I always remember it this way and share it this way of post. Like, if before you post, think about, is it personalized? Like, am I imagining who I'm talking to, and sharing this? Is it personalized? Is it open-ended? So I'm encouraging them to respond in some way. Is it the S is style? Like, does it feel like us? Is it our style? If it's Christine, is it her red lipstick and a red background? Her flair, and does it sound like her? And the T is about timeliness. Like, real people doing real things in real time is always good, or just relatable to what's going on. So when you're writing or creating content, like behind the scenes stuff, love that. Or, getting your fans involved in some way. Maybe it's, I've seen with a couple of the restaurants that we work with, like, what should we order? What should be our special on the menu? This or this, and pulling people. What kind of new beer do they get on tap, right? Like, love the bartenders and the waitresses and sharing some of their things. We've had them with some of the restaurants we work with, like naming some of the dishes or trying it, live. And really, and as much as you can just feel like you're having a conversation, being social on social, go figure, like, I think that's to be the best bet that you can do, and just highlight what it's really like to be in your spot, whether that's from the team members aspect or, somebody that's dining there, but try to make it as much as immersive kind of feeling as you can, that also gives the people that are communicating with you a sense of belonging and connection to it, that they are participating. It's not just us sharing things out.
Yeah.
Right. I love that acronym, the POST acronym. I'm going to keep my own mind.
Good one. I'm like writing that down.
I took a mental note. And I love the idea of having the guests trying the new dishes live too. I hadn't thought of that one before. So that's a good one.
Unless I hate them, then I'm just kidding. That's never going to happen. Never going to happen.
risk that they're willing to take.
I think you're willing to
Real,
take.
you know, it's real. So
Who's gonna be that honest on camera, right?
Although that could
The
be a
whole point.
conversation starter. It could be
Right.
like,
I
we bring
agree.
in the people who reviewed us the worst on Yelp.
Oh my God, that would be so funny. Oh geez, our listeners know how much I hate Yelp. So
Jimmy Fallon does a whole bit on like reading them live.
yes. Oh my
Mhm.
God, so funny.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
it's one of
actually
my
bring those
favorites.
people in, give them free food that they can talk about on video, and it could be hilarious.
It would be. I don't know if they would think it was hilarious, but I feel like the restaurant and their fans would know it was
If you do like a second shot at love kind of thing, like a spin-off of the show and be like,
oh
this is-
yeah, that's funny.
Like that.
You're onto something there.
That's great. That's great. Okay, well, I have some social media questions actually. So obviously there's so many different social media platforms out there that restaurants are on. I feel like people think Instagram, Facebook, those are the main two. I mean, I don't know if you guys agree or if with restaurants we go beyond that, but I specifically am curious what you guys think about TikTok and how potentially the restaurant industry could be using TikTok. What are your thoughts on the short-term video versus the long-form video? TikTok is just this whole monster that I feel like everyone's like, I feel like I need to be a part of it. And I feel like personally, I see restaurants, I see bartenders, I see event planners on the app, but I feel like sometimes restaurants are like, oh, I don't know if I want to get into that big beast. So I don't know if you guys have some advice there or what your thoughts are on that.
I hate to say like it depends, but it depends, right? I always say like only take on what you can actively engage and post on and do it well. So of course, like the staples, right, are going to be, Facebook. Of course, everybody expects you to be there, and Instagram. But honestly, even before that, I like to say whichever ones are going to help you create the best sentiment first. So first, before you even get on social, like the biggest pet peeve that I have with restaurants when I start working with them is make sure your information is accurate on the local search directories first. So some people forget about that. Like Google My Business, for example, claim your stuff, make it accurate, get your stuff connected there. So it reduces friction and has all your information accurate on those for times that you're open and people getting in touch with you, and start there because now everything's ranked on sentiment too and how people are reviewing you. And if you're not getting alerts on that, then you're missing out. So start there. Think of that as like a social platform to spend your time on. There's some tools like Yext and Advice Local that it will aggregate all that data and your reviews. So you only have one sign in and can get everything in one spot, really inexpensive. But then branch out according to who you are at your core, like your tone. What are you trying to do? What kind of rapport are you trying to build? Who is your, your ideal audience that you want in? And can you deliver in the medium on that platform of how it should show up? Because there's nothing worse than seeing people just go on TikTok to go on TikTok and the content is not feeling like you get secondhand like embarrassment for them, when you're watching it, or it's not consistent or whatever. Like just make sure wherever you're going on, like we're on now marketing groups on TikTok, but I know it's not me. I'm not doing it. I have a team member that's rocking it out and she's great at it. But if she wasn't there and there wasn't the plan there for how we were going to use it, we wouldn't be there. So you have to just take some of those things into consideration and not feel like you have to be everywhere just because everybody's doing it. Be where you can, spend, if you have time to invest in it and do it right, and then measure the results to make sure it's still working for you over time.
Absolutely. Yeah. And with any platform you use, it's also in hospitality in particular, you're not selling just your product or service. You're selling a feeling, you're selling an experience. Hospitality is all about selling feelings and experiences more so than the details of the product or service. So make sure that you're communicating that with that type of content. On Instagram, the number one thing that I tell everyone is just make them hungry, of course. But TikTok and Instagram Reels and even Instagram Stories are just a great opportunity to have a little more fun. They're more unstructured by nature. If it's too structured, if it feels too overproduced, it's not really going to hit as well, which is a great opportunity to have some fun with content creation. But in general, I think that the short form stuff like TikTok, like Instagram Reels, even Instagram Stories, I feel like that's a little bit more for sort of discovery. It's a way to sort of catch people's eye. You want to make sure that the deeper things, your profile, your information, like Jessica said, your website, you want to make sure that all of that is there for them to continue into that journey of you and your brand and your story and your place. And so that they're able to have that, fun, shiny thing that catches their eye, but then they're able to go deeper with you if they choose. And it's important to mind that journey, because we can get so caught up in the fun of something like TikTok that we almost forget, oh, wait, it has to actually tie back to our business. This is for business here. So it's a great way to catch people's eye. It's a nice shiny thing, but make sure that you're able to have that serve you in some way, and that part of the journey is in mind when you're creating content like that.
Yeah, that's great advice. Sorry, go ahead.
All right. I was going to say too, I love that you said that, Christine. One other thing to keep in mind too, for businesses is that if your community is creating content, just show up and engage with it. It's not, I love when, one of our clients, they just have a hashtag and they just show up and engage with people that are creating stuff, and then have that kind of shown on their website and some other areas to shine the light on those creators, because those people are creating for them and they're just participating and facilitating kind of that space, because they know the brand is what is being told in the stories of people that are sharing out, their experience, like Christine said. So also you can think about it that way. If you know you're not able to create the content steady and do it in a way that feels right for your brand, but doesn't mean you shouldn't be listening though, because others may be creating that content so that you can participate in that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you're only engaging with comments on your own content, then you're preaching to the choir. You're only talking to people who have already heard of you.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. Let the influencers influence, right? Yeah. Find your local influencers and have them make the TikTok videos for you. Because Rach, I feel like we follow a bunch of Boston-based, like influencers who go to brunch, who go to and that's why I try restaurants. It's not because the restaurants are posting, it's because these two girls who have a great time at brunch together, posted about it. And I'm like, well, I want to go have brunch there.
Right.
That looks awesome.
Do either of you know do you have restaurant clients that work with influencers? Because I feel like it's a topic that we see it, like Kate just said, and how it has been done, but I don't know if necessarily our customers, we have a couple customers that we know who do. But do you guys see it with your clients at all?
I think my definition of influencer is a little different. So I call them they are influencers, but it's not necessarily the person with this mass celebrity following or anything like that. It's more so that they're influential to the group of people that this client is really trying to get in front of, and they may only have 1,000 followers. Right. So, and it's not I'm going to pay you to post for me. It's really nurturing the relationship and saying hey, you are an ambassador for us and we recognize that. And we want to do extra things for you and really build a even stronger rapport, because we know that you are that important to us. And so it's more along those lines, strategic alliances, I would say, and building very strong relationships with people that we know that are going to be sharing and showing up. So it's really just empowering the people that already love them to love them more, and then creating some opportunities for some new people, community stakeholders and people that do have some big pool, that creating an environment or an experience that you can bring them in. So we've done, a food and wine pairing kind of thing, and just different events that you're specifically inviting kind of this VIP group in to experience you and get their feedback. But I'm 100% with you when I see other people sharing their experience online. It's I want to be there. I was in New York 2 weeks ago. I see Christine there, but there was Mom's Diner there. I don't know if you guys, I seen their Instagram was happening. I was I want that mimosa and all the things there. But yeah, their Instagram did make me hungry, Christine. And I went there 2 times actually.
Nice. I follow so many food places in the city, and I'm not that far from the city, but I don't go there a lot. And of course, everything's really expensive. So it's weird, but I'll be like driving through on my way out of the city after our dinner. I passed some place and I'm like, I follow them on Instagram. And I was tempted to just like pull over, but you can't do that very easily in Manhattan.
No.
I've been kind of on both sides. The short answer is the types of clients that I've worked with in the restaurant industry have been too small to want to like pay influencers for something like that. Right. But they have done what Jessika has said, which is just sort of developing those relationships with people who are already advocates for them and nurturing the heck out of that. And I have been on the receiving end of that as well, because between the fact that I used to be a food writer, but even still, even though it's been over 5 years since I've done that, I still get free stuff sometimes when we go out to eat. And it's never an expectation. It's always just, they're like, you know what? We know that you're posting this and we know that you're a great advocate for us. Thank you. And they'll like toss in something extra, or, you know, our bill is suspiciously small. I have had a couple times when for our local restaurant week, Hudson Valley Restaurant Week, I've had a restaurateur reach out and be like, you guys should come to our restaurant. What day and time works for you? And I'm like, I don't know if this is like, if we're his guest or not. And then it turns out that there is no bill and it's wonderful, but like, I don't know. And it's weird. It's like, how do I disclose this? It wasn't technically, so it's interesting, but much like in Jess's area, I'm also in a small town. It's near New York City. I'm not in New York City. So I'm also in a small town. And so again, it's more about the nurturing of relationships, the giving of additional experiences, as opposed to literally the paying to write. I was at a VIP. I've been to a couple little VIP local foodie event things where a newer restaurant has said, you know what, we're going to bring out our top dishes for this table full of people who we know are going to take great pictures and post it. Which is great with disclosure, because I'm like, oh, I can totally say that I'm at this event and they'll know. So that has happened, but that's rarer around here because that's a big outlay on the part of the restaurant for like a bunch of people. That's usually put together by like a PR person, but very few restaurants around here really do that. That mostly happens actually across the river from me. There's a wealthier community, Westchester County. And so it happens over there. Here in Rockland County, where I am, doesn't happen quite as much, but they will sometimes give their favorite restaurants will sometimes give their favorite customers who they know have told people about them and brought people into them. They'll sometimes give them a little something.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's even something small. Like I live in a smaller community, much smaller, in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and their restaurants, some of my favorite like restaurants there have actual, like if you follow them on Instagram, you know that if you tag them, take a photo of a cocktail, tag them in the photo and like, you know, post it, even if you only have like 20 people who follow you and they're like all your family. If they see it, they'll give you a drink on the house the next time you come in, which I think is like, I've seen it at a couple bars. And I feel like even that small incentive, because, you know, there's a lot of people in my community that follow me on Instagram and maybe they haven't tried it yet. And just that small amount of, you know, additional followers and additional customers is huge, especially right now. So I think
there's a local boutique here where they say, if you post a picture of yourself wearing something you bought here and you use this particular hashtag, next time you come in, you get 10% off. I always forget, but
well, that I was just going to say, like the restaurants that do that, I think that's a lot that's overlooked, is just telling people, asking people. Like I love these places, and I was in Naples several months ago, but they had just on their wall, it was like, hey, here's some ways, if you love us, here's how to support us. And it was like, please pay cash, you know, use the hashtag, like all the things that you could really do to support them. And it was such a good experience. I was like, heck yeah, I want to do that. But I wouldn't have known the hashtag. I wouldn't have really thought or remembered, you know, hey, let me share that and tag them, you know, at that level, probably, you know, at that time. So I think even just reminding and kind of keeping that consistent too with your community on ways that you can enhance the experience, but then add in ways that you and they can both have this co-creation of an experience together, right? Of what's being what's being shared. So definitely don't ask for it if you got some cleanup to do. Don't ask them to tag you, but clean that up first. Like I always like to say, it starts from the inside out of really getting your stuff together, making sure you have a frictionless experience, and add in some extra fun delights along the way that make moments that people want to take a picture of, whether it's a funky thing outside your place or inside, something funny that you're doing, but give people a reason to want to create and remind them of how to connect with you when they're doing it.
I love all these ideas, and I see it all the time happening on Instagram, just the people I follow. So it's happening everywhere. But I want to make sure we get this question in too. You guys gave us, and we talked about some different ways that restaurants use content in general, but specifically with the holiday season coming up. I know lots of restaurants right now are booking up and getting holiday parties or just dinners, everything like that. Do you have any social media strategy tips, anything like that specifically for the holiday season that restaurants could be doing?
Social good. Share some of that, I love that. I mean, you don't always have to just do it for the gram or whatever, hopefully there's more to it, but I would say depending on your personality, add that in. So whether, you are a community or, somebody that cares about giving back, we've had one of the restaurants just highlight them delivering meals. We've had people ask for families to sponsor, and then they had the tree, in their location where people could pick off, children's names and buy gifts for them. I've had another client that's promoted, if you will, another charity thing that's going on in the community that's supporting foster kids. Like, think through ways that you can give back. And in return, I mean, it'll always come back to you, but just think how you can add in some social good in the holidays, and remember your people, all the people, your team members that are working hard in the holidays. How can you add some extra love to them and what they're doing and show appreciation? The people that are coming in and supporting you and they're going through the stress of the holidays, what can you do to just add more humanity and just love, care into what you're doing along the way? And hopefully it's not just a holiday thing, but really a time to think about it during the holidays, and just how can we add it in and make it more personal,
That's a much classier answer than I was going to give. I love the social good element, but I was going to say, unlike the sketchy fake scarcity mentality, you have actual scarcity when it comes to the holidays, because people book out so far in advance. If you have any sort of personal dining option, party rooms, anything like that, really by now you should be hammering home, like, book now. I have a late December birthday, so let me tell you, trying to gather people from about mid-November on is hell, because people make plans so far in advance. It's actually harder to get people together in early December than it is closer to Christmas.
Oh, absolutely.
Because everyone thinks, I'll avoid it by doing it like December 1st. No, that's even worse. So use that scarcity, use that you got to book now element. Another thing I'd say is make sure you're emphasizing things that play to comfort, because when someone is thinking about dining out around the holidays, they're thinking of those kind of holiday feelings, the feelings of, family and, like mom used to make blah, blah, blah. They're not thinking of like 3 pieces of a vegetable they can't pronounce on a huge white plate. Like, emphasize your comfort stuff. It's winter. Everybody's fat. Like, just go for the comfort stuff more than think about the feelings people want to feel. And also don't forget those gift cards. Gift cards, even restaurants that there's some restaurants out there that kind of feel like it's tacky to mention their gift cards. Get over that, because that's a way of giving an experience. You can sort of phrase it differently. You could be like, give this experience to people. But I think that that's something to remember, for the person who has everything, give them an experience. Maybe even encourage people to bring someone out as a gift. So don't forget that element either, but just tap into where people's heads are at with the holidays and how they want to feel and how they don't want to feel, which is stressed and overly sold to.
Yeah. Well, we're already stressed. So I feel like that's a
so true.
Stay away from
I
the
love
stress.
what
Yeah.
you said about the gift cards though, Christine, too, because most, like a couple of restaurants, like they just added it, like a gift card into a mug, into a basket with like some cute little stuff. And it's like, so you have something physical, right? Like to give out. So just think through, how can I dress it up a bit? Or like you said, give a gift card to someone else. Like maybe you buy $50 and you get 10, for yourself or somebody else, like the mailman or whatever you're going to give it to. Right. But like, it make it easy to do business with you. Like, hey, don't make people call in to buy it and give a card, or stop and like, make it easy. Facebook has marketplace. Instagram has, ways of shopping, like Pinterest, all of them. You can set up something easily online if you don't even have it on your website to make a purchase, and make it stupid simple for people to be able to do it, so they can get that last minute impulse buy, like me, for the person that I will ultimately somehow forget at the last moment and I need to buy a gift
or
card.
even offer like a special prefix meal. I know a lot of places already have, special meals at special times, and again, emphasize that you need to book early for those things. But even if you offer a special type of meal where, when you're making your reservation, make it clear you're reserving the blah, blah, blah package, and we'll throw in a free bottle of wine, just something to make it a kind of gifty experience.
Yes. Yes.
And shameless plug, if you're a Tripleseat user, you can add on our Tripleseat Direct feature, which allows you to add those things to your website. So your customers can just order gift cards, order experiences right from your website, or from social media, or from really anywhere that you like throw the URL. So shameless plug, shameless, not shameless.
not shameless. Yeah. I'm so excited to see what everyone's offering, because I remember last year when became winter time and everyone was kind of trying to figure out the outdoor dining and how do we keep it happening, and the igloo became the big thing, and it was like an igloo paired with like all these other things, like you had hot chocolates, you got spiked hot chocolates, you had
just all the hot chocolate.
I feel like restaurants just made it this whole winter wonderland experience, and now I'm just inspired and trying to figure out who I'm going to go out on a nice romantic experience with, as I'm single over here. But
you're going to rub noses with.
Yeah,
I'm going to kiss under the mistletoe.
Not me, but I'll go to the igloo with you.
Like s'mores, hot chocolate, I'm down. Mistletoe.
Yeah, absolutely. You said boozy hot chocolate, I'm in.
Oh yeah.
Picture perfect scenario there for an experience. I love all that stuff.
Somebody needs to make a snow globe this year instead.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I like that. Like outdoor s'more stations.
This makes me want wintertime now, and we're not even past Halloween.
Yeah. We're so close though.
We'll blink and boom.
I know. Exactly. Especially here in New England. It's basically happening now. It was like 40 degrees.
I was going to say in Ohio, it's all the same.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. Should we wrap it up, Rachel? I feel like, is there anything else that you guys want to add before we wrap it up, or anything we didn't cover that you want to talk about?
Like there's more I would dig into, but I don't want to go over your time. And I know that it's like I could talk marketing forever. I'm really enjoying this conversation.
I mean, there's lots of places that we could go, but
I know.
It's up to you.
Yeah, exactly. We can save it. We can do more of these. It's fine. You guys are okay with that, right? We'll just have you on like once every other month and talk marketing.
I'm down for whenever. I love doing this.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for joining us today. And we really enjoyed the conversation. Rachel's going to add all of your info, website, all that great stuff for both of you in the episode description, obviously, so people can check it out and send us your questions if anybody has any. And I'm sure that Jessika and Christine would be happy to answer them for you. So thanks again for joining. And until next time, we'll see you guys next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.